Thank you.
Does it mean anything else, anything differently for you? Your first start at home this week versus playing on the road, does that matter at all?
I think it's just a really cool opportunity. Just because anytime you get to play in the dome, I remember running out of the tunnel for the first time and kind of seeing everybody, and it was such a cool experience. But obviously got to play a little bit come in that action against in the Bucs games, but just trying to go through my same process and just go out and attack.
How have you tried to approach the starting job? I imagine you want the approach to be the same whether you're backup or the starter, but obviously things are different for you now versus.
Yeah. No, I've just kind of been myself in an expanded leadership role. I think behind the scenes, I've always done my best to learn and continue that same preparation process. But for me, it's just kind of utilizing that work that was put in to this point and just expanding on it. As far as just vocalizing, route detail or, a sense of urgency at practice, stuff like that. But doing it my own way and having some energy and having fun with it. So I really enjoyed it, but it's a continual process.
Back and looked at the game tape from the game in Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
What was it you liked about your performance? Did you see anything in there that you were like, oh, I like that? Like, what was it that you saw that you felt good about?
I think just, ball security. I think anytime we can protect the ball and keep the chains moving forward, I think that's always a positive. It starts with me, and I got to continue to do that. So I think just playing on time, all those little things. I think, my whole goal is to not let those things, fade away. However long I can hopefully play and continue to keep getting better. Just having those fundamentals, because I feel like, to me, that's where guys get in trouble, and where I get in trouble is when those kind of lack. So I thought those were positives, but at the end of the day, some in the red zone, I know we had the 4-minute drive, but finishing some of those off, we'll be able to do that. And I think as an offense, we can kind of continue to grow that way.
I know that's always a priority, but I know that came up when you were being picked apart in the scouting process and stuff. Is that something you were determined to, when the pocket breaks down and when pressure's on, I'm going to be smart with foot? Is that something you have worked on in this 6 months that you've been here?
Yeah, it's, I like I said before, in scout team, and more often than not, it's not in your favor as far as like the pocket wise, and there's guys in your face, you're throwing in different lanes. So I think I was just super intentional about two hands, trying to move up, trying to escape in different ways, and obviously that didn't always happen that way. But and then whenever I got my opportunities to just focus on that, and I obviously knew over time, and I got to continue to keep doing it. So in college, you kind of continue to grow and learn every single year. So I think that's part of it. And, I'm going to continue to try to keep doing that.
I'm sorry, Mike.
What the opposite of his question, what is it that you found after 2.5 games of experience now that you want to improve the most?
I think just repetitions with my eye discipline and stuff like that, where some of the new plays you have to maybe installing, or plays you haven't run in a while, just really being dialed in on with my eyes and my feet that way. And I think, good things can happen when those are clean. So stuff like that. It could have hit Foster on a touchdown on that one red zone drive, and that was on me. And then just being clean with that, and those good things will happen. But other than that, kind of reinforcing, what we've done well, and then building on it.
I know Drew was calling the game this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Have you developed a relationship with him and text talk? And I'm sure you'll see him this weekend, and maybe how he has maybe helped you on this journey.
Yeah, it was really cool, because I talked to him a couple weeks ago, actually, whenever I was still in a backup role, and I just kind of talked to him about his mindset through his journey, and I kind of talked to him more about his time with the Chargers, and I wanted to hear kind of how he developed into who he was, here, and we talked about his just daily routine and process, and he had a lot of great things and insight, and it was really cool just to be able to pick his brain, and then everything he kind of told me resonated the same, whether I was the starter or not, and then kind of having the opportunity, shortly thereafter to kind of just roll into it was really cool. I think he was just super helpful, and I think he would do that for anybody, and I think obviously his new job now, that's like the goal at the end of the day, and it's so cool for him to be able to do that, and I'm obviously looking forward to being able to chat with him.
What have you been told about this rivalry?
Man, at least from Cam, he's probably said enough. He freaking hates him. So, and I'm excited to just get on it. You know what I mean? I'm obviously new to the rivalry, but I can feel it though. It feels a little bit different for sure. It feels that way, and I think that's a good thing. I think everyone has rivals, and you don't change your process, but you just you change the emotion of the city. You know, there's a reactionary component to everybody in the city, and I think you want to go out there and play harder.
Related to that, I don't know if you were here during the bye. Did you get any feedback from people in the community after that game in Carolina?
Yeah, I mean, I was here until Thursday or Friday. I was here just training and working, and then went to Oregon for a baby shower and stuff like that. But everybody I saw was like, great job. I mean, obviously it's a division opponent, but go beat Atlanta next week. I don't really care about anything else. And I like it because that's who we're playing next, and that's who we got to beat. So obviously you sense that for sure, and we're going to do everything that we can.
Yeah, were you would you have been here on those days anyway, or did you take it?
Yeah, I was gonna be here anyways. I don't know, everybody I've talked to, and at least in my kind of circumstance, just working out wise, training, trying to treat it as if it really wasn't a bye week, just physicality wise, and also I've only started, just recently kind of got into that role, quote unquote. Even though my process hasn't changed, but I really wanted to kind of be here and be able to throw with some of the guys that were here and just kind of watch film, and then whenever the weekend hit, kind of take some time, obviously.
I know the coaches all did a self-scout. I mean, did you get in some offices and do some self-scouting and talk over some of that kind of stuff?
100%, yeah. I mean, just watching, everything that we kind of done, and then obviously watching Atlanta as well. So I think it's just part of it. I didn't want to change anything that way, so it didn't feel that too foreign. You obviously, during the bye week, you guys take some time and go be with some family and friends too.
Do you think the game has been slowing down for you at all a little bit as obviously you continue to get some experience to start?
I think just slowing down is a unique term. It's just, I think, repetitions and for me is just, I feel more and more comfortable each day, each practice, as I get, kind of build that chemistry with some of the guys. And I think it's part of it, the business of guys coming and going. But for me, I just feel really comfortable, and there's going to be challenges ahead. And I'm going to continue to kind of to battle through those. But I think just focusing on what we've been doing well and how we can kind of attack each week, that's my main focus.
As a new starter, how much do those departures in the receiver room affect you, especially since you worked a lot with those guys in the summer when you first got here?
It sucks. It's hard, especially because I was really close with Brandon as far as just who he was off the field. He was probably one of my, biggest mentors, at least throughout this point, just leadership-wise, all that stuff. And I think just a comfortability and but totally understand, the situation and with Rashid and just everything that he's capable of. But it's part of it, nobody. I mean, it's the world that we live in, and I think we have really good guys that are already here, in Vele and Tipton and all those guys. So, and I think Olave's done an excellent job. I mean, he's kind of expanded his leadership role. He's expanded just everything that he can do. Obviously, everyone knows what he can do, but I think he's going to take it to a new level. So, I'm excited because we got 7-8 games left. Who knows? I think that's our mindset. Let's just get back to it, and let's get after it.
I have a question, since you just said that. In recent weeks, Mrs. Benson and Mickey have both used the term rebuilding year, which is the first time they've said that. And Kellen acknowledged just a few minutes ago that we are going to play a lot of young players. The goal is to win, but we're going to play a lot of young guys. The opportunity you have over these next few games, I'm sure you want to be laser focused game by game and not look at the big picture. Is it hard for family, friends, people to not tell you about the opportunity you have and how this last couple of months could define your career?
I mean, it's a good point as far as what you said is with the opportunity portion of it. I think anytime you can go play football in the National Football League, it's an insane opportunity, regardless of whoever it is, whatever guy, what team you're on. But I want to be here for the long run, and my play and how I control each day is going to reflect that. So my job is to do everything I can that way, and that's all I care about. So whether we're 0-17 or 17-0, I'm treating it the same. I want to go play football and have fun because I love my teammates and love these guys, and whoever's here, like we're gonna get after it. That's what I care about.
Kind of going back to that leadership point you brought up earlier. Yeah, you played quarterback for a long time. I'm assuming like when you're a starting quarterback, like at every stage, you're kind of the guy on the team. Like, how different is that in a pro setting when you're a rookie? You got teammates like Cam who've been in the league for 15 years.
Yeah.
You know, when all of a sudden it's like your voice matters in that setting in a different way than before.
No, I mean, it's a good question. I think it's something I kind of learned. I had to learn. You have to learn your role early on. There's a kind of a rookie component, but there's the element that I've kind of just really believe in is just being yourself, and you have to kind of authentically, be that and understand what role you're in. But I'm not afraid to say something and within the group, the offense, all that stuff. But I got to continue to build on that. I haven't really earned the right to make something profound and like the earn the right to. When Cam and DeMario speaks, it's different because they've earned that right and they've seen what it takes. So it's kind of a duality of like I'm in this role of quarterback. I've played some football too, but I haven't in the NFL. And I think my job is to be consistent, have a lot of juice, have a lot of energy, and when there's something needs to be said, I'll say it. But I think at this point, it's really good to see from me from a learning perspective what those guys have done and what they say, and it's really cool.
There's something Alvin mentioned a few weeks back, and he told us to ask you about it. So Will was talking about how he gave you a hard time.
Yeah, emotion stuff, right? Yeah.
Has there been kind of a lot of little things like that as we got to the NFL, and especially
yeah.
a guy like Alvin? Like how from that stage to now, what would you say is like some of the things you picked up?
It's kind of second nature now. I mean, it's little things you don't really think about. Even I remember early on in camp, like having only getting a couple practices or reps with Eric at center and just the differences in cadence or how maybe he likes it, and that's the first time you do it. So if a play looks bad, then that's just like the first time you've done it. And I think just over time, reps and getting that comfortability up, and now it's just kind of second nature where you're running it, and you don't think twice about it. And I mean, it was super funny at the time because I didn't even realize I was just kind of motioning my hand or whatever, and he was like, "It's a little thing, but some guy may think you were motioning the other way." But we just had a laugh about it. But it was cool just because when you have that dialogue and you can kind of joke about it, but then form it into it really matters. So it was good to hear.
You seen the offense? Trial and error is probably not the right word for it, but like finding stuff that works, carrying that forward, building on it. Finding stuff that doesn't work, maybe not doing that as much like over the course of the season. Like, have you seen it kind of find its groove, what it does well?
I mean, it's a tough question because each opponent's different and what they're really good at, and obviously every team has to deal with moving pieces. So you're trying to just week to week really hone in on what you're good at, and I think continually finding our identity and obviously when you have some changes, it's a battle. But I think we've done a really good job of kind of managing tempo, running the ball. We've done a lot better job of in the coming weeks, and then I think that at the end of the day, whenever we can kind of keep things moving forward, limit turnovers, and you have some of that situational football success, then we put ourselves in a position to be successful. And I think Cam said it the other day when, if we start fast and we get a lead, I think we can play really well, but we just can't get behind the chains and behind the scoreboard.
Identity is like kind of one of those words that gets thrown around a lot by like football teams, and like what is the process involved in finding that? I mean, is that like really important for a team to kind of just like understand what it is that it is supposed to be?
Yeah, I mean, I think whenever you can have this thing you can hang your hat on, whether that's running the ball or throwing the ball, I think that's cool from a social media standpoint. But I think at the end of the day, teams really want to hang their hat on winning, and whatever that is going to be able to get it done. I think it looks different each week. So it's tough to answer because it's just like you might get the job done and you throw it 50 times and like, oh, this is going to be you don't want that to be your identity because it's not maybe a sustainable way to win, but you also don't want to. I think when you can be balanced and you can get things done from a lot of different perspectives, that's what you really want to do.
I recall when you first moved here, you were trying to dive into the culture locally, restaurants and so forth. So just being Falcons Week, can you recall how early in moving here that you heard about the Falcons?
Yeah, I mean, immediately. I already knew about it prior because I remember, I can't remember who it was, but somebody stiff-armed Matt Ryan into the ground, and I remember Cam, yeah, and Cam just tackling him when he was doing a pressure sometimes. And I always, being a Chandler guy, I always watch Cam, so it was pretty cool to kind of hear him talk and break down the huddle and talk about this week. And I'm like sitting there, man, I remember watching you play against Chandler Hamilton back in the day and watching you play against the Falcons. I mean, this is pretty sweet. So it fires you up for sure. And I think everybody just, like I said before, same process, but it means a little bit more.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.